Hello there. Welcome to the Radical World podcast. My name is Jose Leal, and my partner in crime is missing today, but maybe he'll join us. We'll see. Matt Perez, who is my co host here on Radical World. And today we have a special guest who I'm hoping we will have a wonderful conversation, not an interview with. Um, Luis Salas from Monterrey, Mexico, joins us, and we're going to find out a little bit more about Luis. But I wanted to remind us about what the Radical World podcast is about. It's an opportunity for us to understand both the fiat lens that has created the fiat world that we have today, a world of control, a world of command and control, as well as understanding that there is a different lens that we can see the world through, a radical lens that we know if most of us adopt that radical lens, we will have a radical world, one that serves humanity, that serves life. And so, with that reminder that that's the conversation we're going to have today, we have in Luis someone who has both experienced a lot of the fiat world and the radical world in the work that he has been doing, and we want to learn from him, and hopefully he will learn a little bit from us as well in this process of having a conversation. So, welcome and thank you, Luis, for making the time.
Thank you, Jose, for the invitation, and I'm sure we will enjoy our conversation.
I'm very sure we will. So far, we have.
Yeah.
So, Luis, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your fiat background. Like, how did you come to do the work that you're doing? What made you flip the lens, as we like to say?
Yeah, so you can imagine I come from the law world. I was a lawyer, a corporate lawyer. You see the dark side, and then I see many dark situations, laterally with the conflicts and things that sometimes law has to face, that is in every place, but also the modus operandi of the law firm, an international law firm, respected, but it was a place that I don't like to be there because it was against all the things that I think about work at the time with my rookie level of working. And there was pretty the partners were like some kind of semi-gods or gods. So they treat with many respect, I mean servilism. And then we always have like this kind of forcing you to go to the employees, and forces them to sign their contract so they can quit without you giving some yeah, their money, their fees, their
Mhm.
fair fees. So at the end, I look around the partners and say, I look at those guys, and were smart, they were very prepared, but they were desperate, they were divorced, they were, in fat, they were like some even addicts to drugs, to many things. And I say, this is not the future I want. There should be another way. So it was that moments. I mean, I learned a lot, and I learned of many skills, and I was prepared. I have my LLM too, and I feel with all the tools necessary to be a good lawyer. But at the end, the work ethics, it wasn't for me. So I say it's too big to be against this world. The best thing to do is to say goodbye. And when you are on the other side, it's always, I think, you see some light coming, and that light was the family business.
Uh,
And that thing helps me a lot because at the end, they give me trust in my family. It was a car wash here in Monterrey, in a very, where is all the headquarters, all the corporates, all the office there, and there is many also schools, and it's a place with many tradition. So I started there, and I think it was no more like the technical level I have, but was more the will to do the things differently that take me, to the collaborative, transparency, vulnerability, companionship, and I think that was something that naturally comes, I like to say, I don't know what you think, but I like when now that we do, organizational change, we always said that to do an organizational change helps a lot, or is almost, I don't know, it's a prerequisite or necessarily, but that the main or the leader or the director or the owner of that organizations have already an internal transformation. So he can say, okay, now that I know my battles, now that I feel, a little bit desperate or feel the anxiety of this, there should be another way to do the things. When they have this thing, as I live with the lower and this law firm, until that moment, you see that you can do the things differently, or there could be another way, and you want actually to make change. But when the leaders and don't have this internal conscience or this internal change, it's very hard that they actually want to apply another change, because they have never do a change by themselves. So they have not lived that. I don't know what you think, but
No,
it
absolutely.
was, yeah.
I think one of the things that when you're describing the situation with the law firm, like you started to see, this flipping of the lens, right? Like you started to say, wow, what I'm seeing, you could easily have continued to use the dark lens, right? Not easily, because it hurts. Yeah. That's why they were addicted. That's why they were unhappy. That's why they were divorced, because it hurts to live in this world, right? In the fiat world.
Yeah.
But I did that, right? When I was in corporate for 10 years as vice president of a media company, I was, not only were they on for me, I could see the pain in others, I could see the pain in myself, but I thought that was the way it was, that's just the way it is. It takes a little bit of the lifting the glasses to think it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Right? You might not see it all, but you certainly see that it doesn't have to be that way. And I think that's the transition that you described when you went to your family business is, okay, there's another way to see this. There's another way to start to act. And when you said that the founders have like this this inner change that you describe, for me, the language we are using is they've flipped the lens. Yeah. And I think there's a difference in the way we describe flipping the lens and, say, having a new consciousness. It's that we see the world different, not just that we know we have to do other things. Because it's one thing to say, we have different practices. We're going to do self-management. We're going to do this practice and that way. And we're going to reduce hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
But seeing that as a real part of how you see the world, not just what's the next practice we need from the shelf. Let's grab a practice. Let's grab a practice. Let's grab a practice, because I'm just grabbing a practice because you're telling me that's the practice we need. Instead of saying, I see this need, how do I solve this need? And now we can grab the practice, but I see the need. Whereas before I didn't see the need because I was still saying that I need to control the situation. Is that?
Yeah. And I think that was the way that the end, sometimes it's this danger that you just mentioned, that we just want to follow frameworks or what is the best methodology right now in order to implement. But at the end, if we don't change the lenses that we see the world, our attitudes and our behaviors, because at the end, we can implement, like many organizations apply agile. Okay, we apply agile, but at the end, if our behavior is to be, not collaborating, only like use like these, for example, OKRs, in order only to control and only to make pressure. Okay, you have to adapt this framework. If done, the door is open and you can leave. And we don't value your opinion. At the end, there is no change at the background. There's only a change in superficiality and the things, and the people say, okay, this is another methodology that we need to implement, that not motivates at the end. So when we see ourselves in a more complete way, in a more human way, it helps. For example, I love it because I don't know if you people what you think about this, but sometimes we wrongly think that we have to be like these geniuses in order to apply another framework. But in this case, for example, was a car wash that we apply sort of agile without be like all this scrum and very technique. But we have these meetings, we have open meetings, we have these okay, what do you think, or what we can get better, or what is on your work that is not helping you to make the best work you can do, what you propose. So, and you don't have to say, okay, we are applying agile, okay, in a way, yeah, some principles, but it's not the technical thing, it's the attitude. I think we used to say a phrase that is, the thing about change is not technical, or it's not about learning necessarily, it's openness.
It's a clear lens, right? It's the clear lens. It's being open to seeing the reality of the situation and not having that lens there. When you were talking about the lawyer, one of the things that I think is really important, as I see it, is that through this transition, because we all know the world is going through a transition, right? And as we are going through this transitions, there are people like you. You're a radical. You're out there making this thing happen, right? And you're doing it because you recognize that not only do you want that, other people want it, and you're helping other people flip their lens, right? But one of the things that I think is detrimental to this is that sometimes we blame the people who have the lens down, and I think one of the things that's really important for us to realize is they're not guilty for that lens. They didn't choose that lens. They were given that lens by society, by their parents, by their school, by their community, by their church, by the whole thing, right? When they go to work and somebody's the boss and they go, oh, well, I want to be the boss and he has power, so I want to have power. You just learn to behave the way that the system already has. And I felt guilty for many years for having done the things that I did. And I've given myself permission to say, I did what I knew how to do. That's all I did.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was guilty. But if I did it today, I would feel guilty because I would know better. Right? Do you feel that that's true? Does that resonate for you?
Yeah, a lot. I think, great. At the end, when you see this change, you actually have more compassion of yourself too, because you say, okay, at the end, I don't try to harm anybody. That's why I think I'm quitting this job and this way. But also we say, okay, behind all this person has suffered and have traumas, have history behind them, and have difficulties have a family to attend. It's not easy also to go kind of against, okay, because I have my work, and they can say, okay, I have a work, and it's okay, and I have to keep it. So it's so hard, because at the end you go, and we grow in this environment of always like competing against each other. And that's for example, in my city, Monterrey is a very industrial city, and before some at beginning of 20th century, there was nothing. They started with the breweries. There's many human people that actually studied outside. For example, Eugenio Garza Sada studied in the MIT at the time. Nobody studied. There was like, okay, this is the lawyer of the city. This is the engineer. And actually he started bringing people from Germany, from Austria to help to do the beers, the brewery. So, and then he founded the Tec de Monterrey, in order that people learn and have a graduation. But it was like some of survival thing, But now the times change, and I think the collaboration helps. But we understand collaboration when we feel ourselves needed, when we feel ourselves, okay, I'm not the superhero anymore. I need someone to collaborate, and that guy and that people, that person also needs to collaborate, and that person in a way needs me. And in a way, as I always say to my students, that I want to be the teacher, but at the end, to help you to discover yourself what you want to do in the world. And say we are son of we are complying in order to both people grow, not the teacher or the guide, like the people that guide you, myself, the facilitator, more than a teacher. But I think we have to change a little bit this of collaboration, but until we see ourselves as needed people, as people that coexist with the other people, we understand that, okay, we can do a network, we can do a good collaboration. Yeah. There's no more like this hierarchy, but at the end we are at the same level. So I don't know if that also resonates with you, but the more I feel like the dark, the more I see that I need other hand to help me and bringing out the best of me. And as Marcel Proust said, if we change ourselves, at the end, even the environment don't change, but if we change, everything change.
Right.
And we start to see the world differently.
Absolutely, and it absolutely resonates with me. And I think I've started to have like a different idea about the word change.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody knows change is hard, but that's because we try to force change. We say, oh, I have to change this about me, and I have to force that change, right? I have to make the change happen. Most often, I think that our change, by the time we have the intuition that we want that change is already happening.
Yeah.
It's the recognition, oh, I need to make this change. This change feels like it's a transition. Don't force the change, but look for the things that are going to help the change happen, because we don't change by ourselves. You want to see a change, go towards the people who are doing that change or are already making that change with you, because you will learn from them. You will see them, you will emulate them, and they will emulate you. And you will help each other through the change. This idea that I have to change, I think, is a little bit of a misnomer, that change only really happens collectively.
Yeah.
I can't change by myself 100%. Just not possible. Because even if I could, then the people around me are like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? They're somewhere else. I see a message here from MS Cruz who says that we need this to be successful in the future. How do you feel about that? Like, what do you see as far as if we collectively, not individually, but collectively don't make this change? What do you think happens to us?
Well, first of all, thanks, Hermes, for your comment. Thanks to be here. We say hi to you. And well, yeah, at the end, I like I always try to quote this famous Isaac Newton, what they say that it's not my sort of my worth of doing this, the law, the Newton's laws, but he was over the shoulders of many people, and I think sometimes our generation, because we people that that give themselves to study, to provoke all this evolution in technology, all this exponential growth. We are fortunate and privileged to sort of having all these changes, and sometimes we forget about it, that we take it for granted. So I believe many in the collective change. I think, as you said, the leaders more that they are the change. If we have the possibility to open the door to democratize the democratization of the knowledge, of participation, there can be many change at the end. There's like quote, I forget the name, but then Forsyth said that the future is already there, but it's not well distributed. And I believe in that. There's many changes in like in a village, in a university, but we can open to that change. We can sort of do democratization to that thing. And I believe that we are privileged in this era. So we can, if we have all this communication, if we can, like this conversation that we're having open, and thanks for doing it and to make it happen. I think we have all the media to open the door to these conversations, to these changes. I think that's the main thing, that we don't have to lose this opportunity to the democratization of knowledge and conversations. Hey, Matt is there.
Hey, I'm here. Sorry,
You made it.
I was delayed. And my excuse is I went to sleep at 5 in the morning. So this is about. I know Luis when he was here 4 years ago or something like that. He was here a while back, and I've been following his work, so it's good. Good that we have him.
Yeah. Are you having a tough time sleeping, or are you just working and couldn't stop?
No, I did my Perez thing. I got focused on the book, and I said, I got to get this sucker out. And it's out.
Good. So we were having a good conversation here with Luis, just to catch up a little bit. We started talking about the idea of change, and that it's not just one individual that changes, but we need sort of a collective change, right? Those around us, and in our communities, and in our workplaces, and there you go. Matt's made the change. Luis, yeah. we have to get you some of these glasses.
I'm half. I see Fiat this eye and regular side.
Go ahead.
No, welcome, Matt. Hope that you are fine. And while we were talking about this collective change, the next time I will bring my my glasses. I don't use the sunglasses, but I can ask for my brother, that my brother use many sunglasses, and he actually use glasses, so he always put on that. But yeah, and we said we these conversations helps. I mean, we are not sort of geniuses, and we are not like the good guys, but we can provoke these conversations, and we have all the media, all the things in our world because we are privileged. Thanks for the work for many people through the years that we can, open the door to that change, and I think it's something that has no end. I don't know what you think, but it's not like, okay, we are like open now, we are more radical, and that's it, and we discover America, and we are here, and that's it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We like to think, Matt and I use this analogy. We say, there's a spring here on these, right? And we look out a little bit through the thing, and then the spring wants to come back, and then we pull it up a little bit more. It's a continuous effort. It's not, oh, I'm radical and I got this 100%, because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we saw yesterday, what we will see tomorrow. It's a process. It's a journey. We call this a radical journey. And part of the journey is recognizing that we've had this fiat world for so long that was built on this fiat lens, this dark lens of humanity, that we are, we're evil, and we need to be controlled, and we need to do this. And if we don't do it, it's going to be chaos. So we're doing it for a good reason. We don't want chaos, right?
Yeah.
But how do we go deep into that question of what is reality? Because if we don't see each other as bad, as needing to be controlled and all of that, how do we start to see a different reality? Because there's a no end to that question. What is the reality underneath, right? Both for us and for everybody as we go forward, because every context is different, right?
Yeah. Well,
I'm
go ahead, Matt.
I'm going to ask you both. So, have you learned anything so far? Have you learned from Jose, and Jose, have you learned from Luis?
In this conversation, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that that reflecting make some reflection of this, make this a stop, or we always learn more like in conversation and sharing, and that's the danger too. I mean, if we never stop, or we never kind of share our thoughts and experiences, we never we never learn at the end. For example, I always do analogy. I'm a runner, and sometimes I always, I want to increase my rhythm and be faster next time, and I will do exercise also in weekdays, and go uphill and do more exercise, and then say, Luis, you cannot hold, and our muscles, in order to evolve, also need some rest, and we live in a very hurry world, so I think this helps a lot, and only schedule some meeting only to conversation, only to get in touch with people is so valuable nowadays. Always, but better nowadays, even better.
Yeah, for me, one, the conversation is very important. As you just said, it's about not coming to a conversation like this and trying to sell. Here's my, framework. Buy the framework. Take the framework. Use the framework. When we have that conversation, practices and frameworks. That's the solution to everything. But not only having a conversation that recognizes that these conversations are important, but also, as you pointed out, and I think that's something I take away so far from our conversation, we're just another step in the process of evolution, of social evolution. And we are, as you said, standing on the shoulders of everybody else who got us here,